Hello, my sweet sisters. This is a gift, and I like to do some kind of guided audio meditation or a recording for you each month. Something that is going to be a touchstone for you. You can come back to this if you're feeling the need and feeling the call. This particular guided meditation is called the Blue Room. And if you've been with me for a long time, you may have heard me talk about this before, but I think it'll be new for a lot of you. And I haven't done a dedicated meditation using the Blue Room before for Sabbatical. So this is something special. And I'm in an interesting place because I'm getting ready to go journey tomorrow. And so like the field is sort of open for me. And so hopefully the energy of that will pass along and translate to you through this audio as well. So what is the Blue Room? I believe it is possible to engage with people energetically and have the important conversations that need to take place. And I don't think that has to happen in real time. And in fact, I think it's possible still to have the important conversations with people who are deceased in your life, which is a huge relief for a lot of people because there can be so much sadness and anxiety when someone passes on and you didn't get to have that conversation with them. Do you know what I mean? So the idea that energetically your soul is available, my soul is available. So what we do in the Blue Room is it's a place that to me is very real because I've done this meditation so many times and I use this as a tool all the time too. It's a very real thing to me. This Blue Room is this space. To me, it appears at the level of the upper chakras. So to me, this is something that is above us, not below us. Sometimes we journey into the lower realms to find, meeting spaces to meet with our guides and so forth too, especially totem animals. But for me, this is an upper realm exercise. And so when I imagine the Blue Room, I imagine it being above me, somewhere in the ethers above me. And what you do with the Blue Room is you can invite anyone into the Blue Room to have dialogue with you, to engage in conversation with you. Just like Elder Council, I don't like to squander this experience, so I only take people into the Blue Room to have conversations when it's a matter of some critical nature or urgency. So I want you to think in your life about, and this is especially good, by the way, if you can't have the conversation. So let's say you really want to have a conversation with your partner, but your partner is not in a growth area where he or she is going to be open and receptive to what you want to talk about. Do you know what I'm saying? That happens sometimes too, where it's like, I believe when we go into the Blue Room that we engage and we interact with each other on the level of our highest consciousness. And so that can even be your partner in the future. As partners, if you've been with your partner for a long time, I have, you see each other evolve and grow, and it's really exciting, especially when your partner is doing their soul work and really like moving confidently and beautifully down their path, and you get to witness and observe that. And so I do believe that, if your partner isn't at that level or place of evolution right now, I think it's possible in this Blue Room, because time isn't linear, time sort of folds in on itself. So I do think your future self, that partner's future self, is available to you to have these conversations. And it's like you can almost have a conversation in a healed space where, it's absent the kind of, sometimes there's animosity or anger or frustration. So that's why I say it's a nice, beautiful, calm, safe space to have conversations. One of the things you have to know about the Blue Room is you're not responsible for leading or closing, completing the conversation. So when we go into the Blue Room, what you're going to experience is I'm going to tell you that you can invite anyone that you want to bring with you into the space. You're welcome to ask their guides to come as well as their higher self. I always call in my guides and my higher self too to join in the conversation. You can choose to do other things. You can invite animal spirits or ascended masters who might be connected to the conversation in some way. You can invite them to join. But really try to think about where and with whom this is going to be important for you to do right now. And I usually will do this, I would say maybe once a quarter, something comes up where I feel like I want to do this. And sometimes it can be good too, even if you don't have a challenge right now, if you foresee a challenge down the road, like, okay, I see this dynamic developing in my life, or I see this experience going down a certain path, and I want to have the conversation before we get there, if that makes sense. So I want you to close your eyes, roll your shoulders back, take a nice deep clearing breath with me. Go ahead and inhale and exhale. Just call your energy into present time. Be fully present here with me where you are right now, wherever you are, but just be in this moment. Don't think about what happened an hour ago or what's going to happen later today. Just fully in this moment here. Whatever time it is, just notice your fingers and your toes, notice your neck, turn your head from side to side. Really be present right now. Aware of your body, aware of the temperature of the room that you're in, aware of the sounds that are surrounding you. Those are easy ways to call your energy into present time. And by the way, when you do that, your blood pressure drops, your anxiety level drops. There's so much of our anxiety is because we're not fully in this moment. We're operating at all times actively both 2 hours ago and 2 hours from now, and so we can't find the peace. It's a problem, I think, in our society more generally. And part of what I'm trying to do in my own teaching, you might be able to hear the crow. There's been crows outside for the last couple of days. Part of what I'm trying to do in my teaching with you and even with my children and my friends in my life and my family is remind, just to be that reminder of how beautiful this moment is. If you can just be fully aware and fully present to it, there's so much beauty. So, making sure that your energy is fully here in this moment. And as you close your eyes, I want you to think about a situation in your life, a relationship, a situation where you feel that there needs to be conversation or dialogue, that you would like to have a conversation or a dialogue, but where either the person that you would like to connect with isn't at the level yet to discuss, may not be ready, may not know what you want to talk about, or in the case of someone who's deceased, where you can't physically have the conversation right now. That's the criteria for when and how to use the blue room. So I want you to pull that relationship or that person or that experience up in your mind and just focus your energy there for a minute. Visualize the person's face. And then I always ask, so I'd like you to take a moment to ask that person their permission to converse with you in this pocket of time and space outside of time and space. And so just, you can speak the person's name or just say, in your mind's eye, just pull up their picture and invite them. Just say, I invite you to join me in the blue room for an important conversation soul to soul, absent the anxieties or stakes or possible miscommunications of having that conversation in real time and material time. And just, see if you can sense permission on the part of the other person that you're inviting. And that may not sound like a yes. That may just feel like a yes, or like an I'm ready, or like you're ready to proceed with the meditation. If you feel anxiety or hesitation, just pause and check in with what that is. Sometimes you can use your pendulum too, just to run the pendulum and say, do I have permission to enter the blue room with this person? By going into the blue room, keep in mind, you're not manipulating will. So you're inviting that person to have a conversation with you and your higher self and, them and their higher self. And you're not invested in the outcome of that conversation. And in fact, you're not even going to be aware of the conversation. So you don't have to worry about ethics so much with this exercise because we're not manipulating will. We're not even talking about will. You may not even be aware. You're just creating a space. You're creating a container for work to be done. And so once you feel you're ready and you've gotten some permission, either sensed or felt or heard, whatever permission looks like for you, I want you to imagine that you are standing in front of a closed door in what to me always looks like a big building, almost like an office building. I always imagine them as big black doors with gold knobs, 2 of them, and they're closed in the center. And I want you to imagine reaching forward and turning the knob, the right door knob, to the right with your hand. And as you do, and you push it out, the door opens before you. And as you step into this room, what you notice first of all is the most gorgeous color of indigo, like a very dark blue, purple, very royal, regal color. So much a third eye color. This is a place where the upper chakras are open, we're engaging at our highest level of consciousness with others also at their own highest level of consciousness as well. And so as you step into this blue room, I want you to imagine that there's a huge board table in front of you and nothing else. Very little furniture, at least in my blue room. It's not well decorated. It's just very simple, long, beautiful board table, chairs all the way around. And as you step inside, just reiterate the invitation. I invite you, and you can say the person's name, to join me here in this beautiful blue room in the upper realms for our important soul conversation today. And I call in your higher self. I'm thinking of the person I'm calling in. I call in your higher self and your guides, as well as any ascended masters who attend you. Calling in my higher self and my guides, as well as any ascended masters who attend me. And inviting us all here, you might start to even sense a fullness in the room. I usually get sort of tingles all over. I invite you all here so that we can open space to have dialogue together about this issue or situation. And you can speak it out loud if you want, or just imagine what it is. And here in this blue room, what we know is that the conversation that needs to happen will occur. It'll occur in just the perfect way, in a way that our souls understand. And I in this space can share my thoughts freely. You in this space can share your thoughts freely. And then what we ask is that the guides and the higher selves take this situation or this dynamic on our behalf, help us to get clarity and perspective, and then reach what is a collectively beneficial outcome together. An outcome that takes into account our highest good, our deepest desires, as well as our needs in this lifetime, making sure that first and foremost, our focus and our goal is aligning with our purpose. Why are we here? And so we give permission today to the higher selves, the guides, the ascended masters, those who attend this meeting, this conversation. We give them permission to move toward an outcome that we will not be conscious of, not at least in our waking state consciousness, but that is deeply aligned with where everyone who's involved needs to go. And we give that permission, and so it is. And so I want you to imagine, for me, sometimes I like to just stay out of the conversation completely because I just trust that my higher self and the higher selves and guides of everybody who's here know so much more than I do. I'm merely bringing a situation or a question, and then I like to let all the wise ones do the talking and the articulating. And sometimes I can't hear what is spoken, and I think, again, that's partly because we don't always need to hear what's spoken. We think we do, but we don't. And then it becomes this beautiful exercise in trust. Can you trust? And let me tell you that you should. Can you trust that when you surrender a concern that you have, an issue that's challenging you, that when you surrender it to your higher self, your guides, God, however you conceive of the divine and those who are working divinely in your life on your behalf, can you trust that they're going to move you toward a mutually or collectively beneficial outcome? That's sort of the key question, isn't it? So focus your mind and your thoughts and your attention right now on this situation that you're facing and what you believe a collectively beneficial outcome would look like. And what do you need to reach that outcome? What will that look like for you? What does the highest good look like in this situation? And if you aren't sure, then you are in the right place. And that's when you can reiterate, guides, I'm not sure what the collectively beneficial outcome looks like here. I am sure that this is a challenging situation for me. I invite you to have this conversation on my behalf, and that is it. So close your eyes. See if you can sense who's in the room. A lot of times I can't, and I don't seek it if it doesn't come easily. But see if you can sense who's in the room, who's joined for this beautiful event, who's come today to work this through. And really give that permission now. Really give that permission for this conversation to unfold. Not necessarily with your understanding, just trusting that everything that needs to be spoken and communicated will be perfectly, in perfect time, and in perfect cadence, and in perfect alignment with everyone's highest good. And so my request, Great Spirit, is that as we come before you and do this exercise as a sisterhood, that you allow this space, this container to be created whenever the sisters need to go to this place. Allow it to be created in a way that supports each woman in this group and gives her an additional tool in her toolkit to use when the circumstances are too challenging, or we're not ready in the material yet to have a conversation that we know is possible in the spiritual, in the immaterial, the unmanifest, as it were. And so sometimes what I will do, especially if I'm completely surrendering the conversation and I don't feel like I need to be part of the outcome, I will actually step up from the table, do a quick nod and bow to each person in spirit who's there, turn and leave the room and close those big black doors with the golden doorknobs. I'll close those behind myself. And just, again, leaving everybody there to talk and to do what needs to be done to get clarity. And so, as we take leave of the conversation and trust that the outcome is going to work to our mutual benefit, we give so much thanks to the guides, to the higher selves, to the spirits who attend and protect us, and nurture and keep us safe and connected. We give so many thanks to you for joining us for this conversation. Help us to see the fruits of this spiritual work in our lives. And what you will see, sisters, is so many times, if you do this exercise that I just taught you, if you do the blue room, before you have to have a difficult conversation, you will not believe how much more smoothly that conversation goes because you did this. I guarantee you. Every time I do it, I'm like, gosh, I'm glad I did that. And can you imagine how much different the situation could have turned out if I hadn't, sort of like greased the wheel in a way, like created a space where some of the harder issues and challenges, which may be related to our soul's evolution or other issues that we aren't even aware of, right, consciously. Can you imagine how much more smoothly a conversation could go if a lot of the tricky parts of where we get stuck and why we get stuck are removed on our behalf? So we give thanks for this clarity. We trust that the outcome will unfold in perfect time. Thank you for letting us know, guides and masters. Thank you for letting us know what we need to know right now about the situation and occluding from our view anything that isn't necessary for us to see right now. We trust that you will show us what needs to be seen and known just in perfect time. And so it is. So it is. And all you have to do is just, wait, and that the vision of that blue room and those doors will sort of pixelate and leave your mind, and that's how you'll know that the work is complete. If you would like a sign or a signal or symbol that the work has been complete, not everybody does that. I don't ask for that, but if you're somebody who would really like, some kind of symbol or sign that the work has been complete, you can ask your guides to let you know when the outcome of that conversation has been made clear. May this tool bless you, my sisters, this beautiful little 20-minute pause in your day, but it's an important tool. And so now we can talk about the blue room together, and everybody will have sort of a baseline understanding of what I'm talking about. And I think it's really important because there are so many times where you want to get closure, or just finally talk about that thing that's so uncomfortable for everybody to talk about. And you just wish that could happen. And for some reason, sometimes it can't. So this is a beautiful tool that you can use to get that peace, but also to know that you're not inserting your conscious will or your ego in the situation, which is a lot of times where we really get fucked up, right? Is when we think we know the right outcome and we think we know what should happen. And so when we have that conversation in the material, a lot of times we can't help but, infuse ego there, and then we get into, bigger issues and challenges. Shitty pickles, as we like to say. So namaste, my sisters. I see you. I hope this is a blessing to you. We have so much work ahead this month. Stay tuned. And for now, let me know how this goes for you and how you use it, when you use it, where you use it. And then if you asked for a sign or a symbol or a signal of the outcome, let us know what that is too. We'll look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you soon.